Alright guys, welcome and good evening for another edition of Beginner Breakdowns. I am Encore, and with me as always is KZA. How are you doing today?
Better, actually. Thankfully it's finally gotten hot out here that everything that was giving me allergies has died.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, allergies suck, and I know every time you get on here you always got something to say about them, so it's almost like a war briefing.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate having to explain why I suddenly sneeze into the microphone and have to duck away.
Yeah, just gotta breathe away from the mic. So we got a good show for you guys tonight. We got some interesting matchups, some new matchups, and we also have a little bit of some Ed action near the end, and we'll know you like all that stuff. But thanks again for coming around to our parts to enjoy in the spectacle of coaching and stuff. So, without too much further ado, let's get into it. Our first match here is from Ixtaltz, so if you're in the chat, thanks a bunch for submitting. He is obviously playing Mika, and he is playing against a Birdie, and as you can see, Birdie already has the natural advantage playing on the beach stage, as all scumbag Birdie players are. So, KZA, we'll get your infamous ranting advice. What do you think about this matchup on the whole?
Most of the grappler matchups favor Birdie, minus maybe Laura, just because his normals are so strong, and he's one of the few grapplers who can kind of actually zone out other grapplers. He also has an invincible, throw invincible wake-up option and a fully armored wake-up option, which means that he guesses right and you get smacked right out of your meaties. So a very frustrating character to pin down if your opponent is competent. Mika doesn't have a lot of advantages against him, except possibly shutting down his air approach better than a lot of other characters. Really what it comes down to for me is I hate Birdie a lot as a Geef player, so I may be a little biased.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're all kind of biased, especially when Birdie's choosing that beach stage. They're just going for those heel tactics, and you just can't trust any of them. That's all there is to say about it. So, let's get into the match. Let's see what we got. We can expect to see at least something interesting. And guys in the chat, let us know about the audio levels, if anything needs to be fixed or tuned or anything like that. Please let us know. And we'll go to the full screen camera on our live on-field camera crew. Alright, already getting some of the chain action working, falling for that quick lasso right there.
Everyone falls for that at least once. It's if you fall for it the second time that matters.
It looks like we're getting some good corner action here finally from Mika. A little bit of action.
Missed the meaty though. That's a real killer on Mika. You gotta get those tight. Questionable choice to retreat there, but on the other hand, it paid off. So what do I gotta say?
Yeah, that was something else there.
That was a very active Birdie. Like, boy needs to calm down and hit fewer buttons.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be a little more patient if he's gonna want this to pay off, and he can afford to. He doesn't have to get too balls deep here. He could just, take his time, do what he needs to do.
Like, for those of you watching, think about how you play. You see how this Birdie is pretty much always moving, always pressing buttons. A lot of people start off playing like that, and a lot of people can get away with playing that for a long time, but it's really a bad habit. Constantly being active means an opponent with good timing gets lots of chances to smack you down for it.
Yeah, and this Birdie's just eating Mika's lunch here, no pun intended, but just one quick jab right there, along with a couple good free combos, and that was it right there.
Like, I said this a lot about backdashing or jumping at the beginning of the round, but there's no shame at the very beginning of the round just sitting there for a second, seeing what your opponent is trying to do. Like, You don't gotta go active, and you shouldn't go active against some characters because they're just gonna do something about it.
Yeah, feeling out your opponent is really important, and we already see that this Meek is already starting to get wise to those dives right there, but not that one. That one was free as it gets, and that one too. I mean, that was a little bit of a lucky bit. Oh, he's getting a little greedy on those dolphin dives.
Yeah, see, if those last two things were just Birdie trying to be active when he really should have just calmed down and stopped. If he hadn't gone for that dolphin dive, and if he hadn't done that ridiculous bullhorn, he would have probably been able to clutch it out if he had just been a little more patient.
Yeah, just a little bit too much going on there from that birdie, and it was really a shame. And a lot of bad confirms that ended up getting blocked, which turned into big damage conversions for Mika. And that's really what spelled disaster for Mika here, or Birdie. Yeah. So, Ixalts comes away with the win. So, in retrospect, let's think about this. You mentioned that it's important to feel out your opponent, and that is a really good thing to work on as a player, is being able to, in those first, like, 10 seconds or so, be able to feel your opponent out, get a beat on what they're going to do. Are they going to come out of the gate swinging? Are they going to back up? What are they going to do? Because if they are super aggressive, then you could possibly get some sort of counterattack in. But if they're, backing up, they're doing the same thing as you. They're trying to get a beat on what's going to happen, When that timer starts counting down at the beginning of the round, that doesn't really mean the round starts. It starts when someone makes that first move. So, it's interesting to see how the dynamic of that shifts over. But, in this match specifically, what did you feel happened here? We can actually go back to the start of the fight here and get an idea of what happened. Yeah, so right here, they both kind of come out of the gate swinging, and yeah, I mean, Birdie gets the upper hand, but there isn't a lot of feeling out going on.
So when people say someone's playing like flowcharty or too actively, this Birdie is like the perfect example. He always goes for those long throws when he's at a certain range. He always is throwing out these light normals up close. He always bullheads and does that kind of stuff when he thinks he sees an opening. He's not... His head isn't really there. He's just hitting things.
Yeah, and it's kind of just... I wouldn't call it randomness, but I'd almost go as far as to say things weren't thought out. And it was just kind of shooting for luck, and that was pretty much it. No, it's almost... Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it's... Birdie's an easy character to tell when someone's doing that, too, because it's just all these chops and chains, like, just being thrown out at full screen. It's like, you can just wait, you have the life lead. You can just sit there and give it a second. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's almost like a way you'd approach fighting the AI, and you're just throwing out these long combo strings and hoping that even if they're blocking, they're going to drop their guard, because that's, a little tip for those who want to get going on survival mode, get that fight money. You just got to start throwing those combos, and eventually their guard drops, but that's not the case here when you're fighting human opponents. People are a lot more savvy on that, and once you start facing people who know these combos, they start getting the beat, they start recognizing the patterns, and they know when to counterattack. So you got to be careful on your confirms too, and that really comes down to like reaction times, and that's a whole nother story that we won't get into here. And question from the chat: can you do anything when Birdie does the banana over dolphin dive in the corner? KZ, I feel like you might have an answer on this one.
Jump. I mean, if you hit him on the way down, slip on the banana, you should still recover. Basically, you just got to neutral jump and punish him and hope you don't land on the banana. If you land on the banana, it happens, but if you hit him with a heavy hitter on the down, you'll both recover, and at worst, you'll be still stuck in neutral. Generally, if you just do a straight neutral jump, you may or may not land on the banana. It depends on exactly how close he was to you when he threw it. You also should be trying to quick-wise because you can often catch him throwing the banana if he's doing it trying to walk up and do it or do it too close.
Yeah, if you get a birdie who's getting really fancy with the V skill and, you know, doing walk-up V skill, you need to make sure you're punishing him for that because that's just not acceptable at all. So, I think that's just about all we got on this one. And Lithium's, fun fact, you can block the banana if you land on it, but you have to be holding back already.
I'm not sure that's true if you do an attack in midair, though, because there's that 4-frame recovery when you hit the ground.
Oh, like if a birdie throws the banana and you land on it in the air, that one might have to be field tested.
Yeah, I would have to see what would happen if you attacked and did it, because so, fun fact for listeners, if you attack in midair, there's a 4-frame recovery time minimum when you hit the ground. If you don't attack, it's 0 frames, so you can just block the mo when you hit the ground. That's why people do empty jumps.
I never thought about that when facing birdie. That's interesting. May have to incorporate that in the fight style. But I think we're gonna move on to our next battle, which is, I believe, Alex versus Rashid. Now I think this is the first. No, wait, this is the second Rashid we've had on the show, but this is an interesting matchup because this was pretty much, you know, the low tier squad season 1, but Rashid is really coming into his own here with season 2, and he's gotten a lot more popular. Alex, not so much, but what do you think about this, KZA? Who do you think has the upper hand here?
Season 2, I've got to hand it to Rashid. I mean, just last week while we were on break because of it, Gachikun, you know, demonstrated the potential of Rashid, getting all the way up to second place at Kumite. His pressure is absolutely relentless. I would rate him as one of the strongest pressure characters in the game. I think his only weakness is that his damage is comparatively low.
Yeah, like, doesn't Alex, he has over 1,000 health, right? Doesn't he have like 1,050 or something?
I think it's 1,025.
Oh, God, they still did him dirty. He doesn't have anything, does he? It is.
They definitely basically like, well, we don't want to exactly replicate Geef's values, so let's give him slightly less for no obvious reason.
Yep, never lucky. Never ever lucky. So, let's get into the match. We're fancy on-field camera.
So one big Alex weakness that we just kind of saw there, his anti-airs are all very slow. Rashid has a lot of air options. It's hard for Alex to anti-air Rashid just because of how fast he can do it.
You know, yeah, this could be the first Alex who's able to actually get air scissors to work.
I really wish that move was... Well, that's one way to anti-air.
Yeah, that's a risky one, but if it works, it works. And just gets the hype V-trigger going into the backslide.
I will say Alex's V-trigger is pretty good against Rashid because Rashid's hits are very predictable. You know, they always have a very specific rhythm to him, which makes it fairly easy to do that parry shenanigan.
Yeah, that pretty much... Yeah, Alex's V-trigger pretty much, you know, cancels out Rashid's and actually puts Alex at a huge advantage here. He was just going for the hard neutral game that ended up with him getting his shins kicked in. So, that was an interesting way to go about round 1. Okay.
If I was playing this Rashid, I'd be pressuring a lot harder. He's giving Alex way too much respect.
Alright. Alright. Alright, computer. What happened? Who hurt you? Oh, my
well, at least it was right in between rounds. So while you fight that, I'm going to kind of go over that first round.
Yeah.
90% of that damage that Rashid took was him running right into things. Like, he literally ran directly into a big boot from Alex. That is not a thing that should happen. It's a very obvious move. You know, you've got to be, when you're trying to approach your opponent, you've got to be on the lookout for them throwing stuff out, or doing it in ways that makes it hard for them to throw out anything faster than a jab. Sorry, slower than a jab, because you really don't want to get hit by a crush counter on your way in. That's a really nasty thing to happen to you. The other thing about this Rashid is again, this is a game where treating other players with respect is not really encouraged. Almost nobody has like a consistent way of getting out of pressure, short of blowing bars on risky bets. There's no reason as a pressure character you should ever let up on people, especially people like Alex who don't really have options.
Yeah, yeah, finish what you're gonna say.
I was just gonna say poor dude.
Yeah, like, Alex, once you get on top of him, there's really no reason to, like, get off of him. You're pretty much, like, at home with, all that good once you knock him down. That's one of the reasons he's had such a hard time in this game, is he just does not have anything going for him. And even you see right there, just his anti-air does not do anything. It just does not have the range for it to be that effective, which is just a massive shame. And he's going to end up getting hit here for the match. Rashid takes it, and that will do it, unfortunately, for Alex, who is yet to win a match. So, we've already kind of gone back on this one, but let's reiterate some points here. We saw firsthand, and we even mentioned it before the match started, anti-airs are not really going to help Alex here. I mean, he has a stand jab anti-air, but it's just not... You even saw that it just wasn't rolling. There just wasn't a time for it to work. So, it's really just an out... Yeah, it's really just one character being stronger than the other, and that's what it came down to.
Yeah, the only way for Alex to win matches like this is to consistently punish any mistakes, stay as good as he can in neutral, and just like take easy anti-airs, and a lot of time he just has to block. It's a really unfortunate problem with Alex in general, and it makes him very weak to crazy play, which means that he's actually very weak when you're relatively new too, because he just people just run around doing crazy stuff, and the Alex player's like flailing trying to do it.
Yeah, but you do find some good Alex players here and there who actually compensate the poor tool set, and I actually play pretty well. I don't know if there's been any Master Alex players. Have there been any who've made Master?
There's some that are very high. I don't think anyone's hit Master. I think the closest is Dodon Patchy, who, as I recall, is still in the upper diamonds.
Ooh. Yeah, that'll be something when that finally happens. I'm actually kind of surprised it hasn't happened yet. But we'll just have to see. Still waiting for when Alex makes top 8. I'm just counting down the days. It will be glorious. But, we are about halfway through our program here, so we're going to have a little station identification. We are new challenger. If you haven't been around our parts before, we are a beginner community focused on upping the levels of those wanting to learn and get better at fighting games. Currently, we support games like Street Fighter V, as you're watching right now, and we also support, recently, Injustice 2, which is, if I have to say so, really super fun game. I'm having so much fun with it. But we offer coaching in groups or one-on-one. All of our coaches are super friendly, and if you ever want a session, just send them a DM in Discord, and they'll be more than happy to oblige you. And we also do replay critique and just generally hang out, be cool people, and have a good time. So, like I was saying, KZ, I don't know did you pick up Tekken yesterday or the day before when it came out? Because I'm hearing fantastic things about that game.
I haven't yet, but I'm considering it. It's just one of those things where I'm looking at the amount of time I have left in my day to practice things, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm in the same boat. and I really want to get it. But I should have mentioned this in the beginning of the episode. I actually got new audio equipment. You can't see it, but it's a snowball, or yeah, blue snowball, boom, swing, pop filter, all that stuff, which cost about the same as buying Tekken 7, so I kind of had to choose which one I wanted to do. And considering I just bought Injustice like a week or two ago, yeah, here's the problem. There's too many good fighting games coming out, and there just isn't enough money to go around. It's really a problem.
I'm still considering picking up Guilty Gear again, too.
Oh, God. I just can't play anime fighters. I don't know what it is. That just looks way too crazy.
I'm obligated to play anime fighters. I am OG poverty.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? I think I saw... was it GG Rev? I don't know if it was the first or second one, but it was on sale for like $10, and I thought about it, and I was like, do I really want to get into this world? And I've seen gameplay of it, and I'm just like, you know, this just looks a little too psycho for me. I think I'm just gonna wait until Injustice comes out and just have a nice time with my, you know, American-made fighting games, and just settle for that.
And of course, there's always the option of going and playing some Dive Kick.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, so I'm guessing it's pretty underground.
We have to play some Dive Kick sometime now, but let's get back to the show.
Yeah, we probably should, or else we'll bore all our fans with, you know, anime talk. They don't want that at all. So, getting back, next match is from our good friend Exalt once again, as well as Rethan, who has been around the Discord for a bit now. As you can see, this is a Juri and Mika matchup, and an interesting one at that, because... why is that because? Because Juri, I feel, just has somewhat of an upper hand in this, I feel. Is just gonna be able to take control with good neutral, and yeah, unless Rethan has some issues here, I don't see Exalt's taking this, but we'll see. You probably have some more Juri experience than I do, so let's hear that good old rant that you got.
Well, I'm in agreement with you on this one. Mika of the grapplers has one of the hardest times getting in if she's stuck in neutral. So if Rethan can hold that, you know, Exalt is going to have to struggle to get in. Now, and additionally, Juri still has that EXDP, has good jabs, has all those options that make it harder for Mika to stay on her. The only caveat here is that, you know, these are both players that we've seen before, are regulars around here, and I'm going to bias myself slightly more in Exalt's favor in this particular player matchup just because I know who these players are. However, character-wise, Juri should be able to take this. It just requires a little bit more patience and a little bit more willingness to occasionally go crazy and just mash that EXDP to get her off you, which is a skill that you either do too much or do too little of when you're still working your way up.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see if Exalt here can be savvy enough to not get caught by so many of those. So, without further ado, let's get into the match and see how things play out. Also, I have yet to actually buy any of these premium costumes like we're seeing here, and they just haven't had anything that I really want. You know, the Juri one looks pretty good. I'll play Juri, though. They have a good one for Bison that isn't the pre-order one, maybe. I'm just kind of sad they don't have that.
Yeah, it's a good Juri skin, but I don't even own Juri, so it's kind of like, what am I going to do with it?
Alright, so far, got, you know, good Juriness going on so far. Except for that wasn't too good. And it's just getting pushed back into the corner by Exalt, and we see that pressure being expressed here. Ooh, and get a good air throw from Rethan here, but it's going to lead to a stun for Exalt, and No, I don't think that's going to be enough to kill.
Whiffs it. Ooh, see, there's the good EXDP. That's the kind of stuff you gotta be willing to do against grapplers, guys. Just you gotta be willing to demonstrate you can do it.
Yeah, you can't let grapplers suffocate you too hard. You do, unfortunately, have to take some more risks than you may be used to, but that's just part of the matchup and something you may just have to get used to.
So one thing I will say, Xstaltz is doing very well in both the matches we've seen from him today. He's been stuffing people walking at him. Like, that is a skill you have to get a hang of. It takes some practice, but, you know, when people just kind of start strolling at you, you got to get those reactions on point to at least jab them and stop them from just walking up and hitting you with something.
All right, now we're seeing some good corner. Ooh, just takes... He shouldn't have done that. He really should have kept that corner pressure up, and now he's not in a good position.
The reversal, another solid option against grappler meaty pressure. Again, be willing to use those options. You've got to get them off you sometimes. But see, this is more like what we were talking about. A lot of those standing medium kicks, a lot of those longer pokes, just keeping Mika from getting anything done.
Ooh,
solid tick throw to end it.
Yeah, and like you said, just that general good footsies play is, you know, I think he realized it too. It's like, oh, if I keep doing this, I think I'll be in pretty good shape here.
Part of the reason people don't like playing grapplers is they kind of force you to play on a plan. You know, they have a very specific goal in mind, and so it kind of becomes your job to figure out how to counter that goal, which means that you have to change your play style, and a lot of people really hate that. You know, they're not comfortable with it, it bothers them.
Ooh, not a good punish on the whiffed grab. But you can see Rethan is playing much better here, and kind of has an idea of what needs to go on. Got some good pressure, some decent combos rolling.
Again, Xstaltz catches him walking in. So you've got to be willing to do that. You can't just let people walk at you.
Ooh, I'm just going to take it right there. And Xstaltz is going to come away with another win on the night. So
fatal mistake there at the end. I should not have gone for the air-to-air. The fireball was out. Mika was neutral jumping. Should have just let her land on it.
Yeah. God, I'm so good at those freeze frames. So what was I going to say? God dang it, I forgot. I was going to say something along the lines about facing grapplers, and I do notice that when I face like Geefs or Auroras, you do kind of have to actually, you know, think more on your matchup. It's like, okay, well, I can't usually do this because if I do, then I'm going to get trashed. Like, if I'm playing Balrog and I'm facing the Geef, and he SPDs me, and he's got that good Oki, and I don't really have a whole lot I could do outside of, you know, option select jump or something along that lines. You know, you can't be way too risky, especially if you're playing a character that doesn't have those defensive options. Like we said with Alex earlier, you know, sometimes you just don't have good options. But with Jury here, you got in the XDP, which obviously is one of your key moves here in the situation. But, yeah, KZA, what do you have to say to reflect on this matchup?
Let's rewind to round 2, the one Rethan takes, because I feel like a lot of the people we've been dealing with in the Discord recently have been talking about having trouble against grapplers. So this is an excellent round to show how even, you know, a relatively new and, you know, in some ways, you know, not great player can deal with early game grappler pressure. So you can see that's the spacing you want to keep, like right at the tip of those feet. No grappler can do anything there, not even Geef. I promise you he's not going to be able to throw you from that range. So
yeah. But like what I was going to say, that's a really good point. And part of becoming a more familiar with your character is knowing those max ranges for your more pokey attacks, because that's going to help you so much down the line. And once you use the character more, you're going to start to familiarize yourself better on, those ranges, and when you're facing characters like Mika or Geef or Alex or Laura, that's really going to come and be very, very helpful down the line.
Yeah. One flaw with Jury against grapplers, I find, is that, she kind of has to back off and stock up at the beginning of the match. And so if you're not careful with it and you don't, learning how to do it, in a kind of a staggered way to avoid being obvious about it, there are grapplers who will just Laura, for example, will just dash up and elbow you for trying to do it. Mika doesn't have quite the same number of options, but you can double dash and chase them down. You've got to be, a lot of people like to back up from grapplers. You've got to be careful of that because the grappler player knows that as well as you do.
Yeah, and we saw here that every time Rethan got back into the corner, it really didn't end well for him. He lost a lot of damage, or lost a lot of health, and he had to, pretty much pay that if he wanted to get out. So it was really a shame that it had to happen, but as a Jury player, you kind of don't have a option because, stacking up on those stocks at the beginning of the match is kind of important. So it's really a double-edged sword. How do you handle getting those stocks and what to do afterwards really shows how you could be a good Jury. So that's all I got. That's all I have to say about that.
The only thing that I would like to add is, as other players, be willing to, a lot of grapplers will start off immediately moving up on you. So poke them. Get that poke, be willing to just, watch for that sign of them moving forward and just smack that stand and medium kick on most characters, or even standing heavy kick or heavy punch. Just make sure that grappler knows that if they just try to move up too fast, they're going to get smacked. You can't stand there or back up all the time. People love doing that, and I know as a new player it's scary seeing the big Russian guy walking at you, but you've got to be willing to go and just make sure they feel scared of you.
Nah, you just gotta play Geef and big body him to the corner. That's how you win. That's how you win majors right there. You don't tell me.
Hey, Snake Eyes lost that, much to my annoyance.
Oh, it's because he switched to Akuma. Shouldn't have done that. Should have just stuck to his guns, his literal guns.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we could play the ifs, ands, and buts game, but he took his loss with Akuma, and he can stick with Akuma. Character loyalty. And how important that is. FYI, it's really not that important. I switch around so much, it's not even funny.
In general, I personally think you should stick to one character for the first practice sessions of the game, so to speak. But yeah, once you get the fundamentals of the game down, swap around until you find someone you like. There's nothing more sad than playing someone you don't enjoy.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I like playing characters who are... I like playing a good number of them. Not so much in Street Fighter, but definitely, with Injustice. I've just played... there's, probably 10 different characters I play, and that seems like a much better game to learn characters. And I'm sure Tekken is more or less the same way if they're not too unique. It's not like switching from Zangief to Dhalsim. A lot of the characters, they play similarly. A lot of their commands are similar, back threes in Injustice are the same thing, and, forward threes are the same thing. So that's a little easier to get into. Street Fighter is a little different. Aside from the Shotos, everyone's fairly unique, and it's a little harder to, hop around, as it were. But, enough about that. Let's get into our final matchup, which is Ken and the inaugural appearance of the newest addition to the roster, Ed. So, I've had a blast playing Ed so far, and I don't know if you've played him at all, KZA, but I don't know, I like the button layout that he has. I see so many people complain about it, and I kind of get it, but still, I like playing him. He also doesn't murder my thumb, which I greatly appreciate, because I play on pad, And, you know, anytime I don't have my thumb bleeding is a good time. So, what do you have to say about this matchup based on what you know about Ed so far?
I'd say fairly even. Ed, the only advantage I think Ed has over Ken is that he has a lot more ways to stay plus. Ken has to kind of gamble it more often. On the other hand, Ken's damage output's a lot better, at least meterless. Like Ed's damage, like Rashid's, is kind of weak. But yeah, fairly even. I think Ed's a great addition to the roster. I think you know, we're going to see some interesting play coming out of him. It's just still way too early to tell what kind of potential he has. And you know, I might be wrong. Maybe there's just some cap on him. Probably the most interesting thing I found out is that his EXDP equivalent is super invincible for like 11 straight frames. So you can actually like do his DP in response to someone doing their DP and beat it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I haven't gotten, you know, that good with him to be, you know, that godlike, but maybe one day. But he's super fun to play. But like you said that he doesn't have good damage output on... actually, yeah, he does need some meter to get things rolling. But I wouldn't say it's like Rashid. I'd say he has about like almost below average damage output with no meter. But once he's got some meter, he can start busting people up for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy whose super is kind of an afterthought. You're really going to see it because he should be blowing his meters on you, kind of like Urian.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes when the match starts up immediately. Okay. We'll go to our on-field cam.
Also, gotta say, I genuinely like his background theme. I'm sure I'll be pissed as hell at it in a couple of months, but for right now, I'm in a good mood.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Like, I actually listen to it on YouTube every once in a while, but I'm sure in about a month or two, I'm gonna want to rip my own head off.
So this Ken's fallen for that Psycho Flash a lot. It's pretty easy to deal with if you know it's coming, but honestly, I think the Ken just doesn't know what it does yet.
Yeah, I think this might be a situation of not being familiar with the V skill, and also a couple of other Ed specials. But that doesn't really matter right now, because this Ken is taking him, he's cleaning his clock right now in the corner.
I'm not sure. See, this is a habit I see on a lot of players. I commented on Ixtaltz as well. A lot of new players, they get you in the corner, and they jump away from you and start trying to like hop in with like Tatsus or air skills or like, I don't know what they're doing. You got someone in the corner, you stay on them. Like, you back off a little bit once in a while to bait things, but you don't go full screen. You don't jump back. You've got them where you want them.
Yeah, and this Ed is going a little too yellow with the charge heavy punch. Needs to kind of get those ranges figured out sooner than later. And there's that DP we were talking about. Just being able to punish that meaty sweep.
So for those of you having trouble against Ed, one thing to keep in mind is that his charge heavy punch side switch is -2. Just jab his ass.
Yeah, honestly.
Additionally, you know, I said that his DP was super invincible. What I didn't also mention is that it's kind of like Urian's. It has a very, very long startup. It has like a 10-frame startup where it's invincible during that startup, keep in mind. But it means you can jab it and then still block it if you jab meaty.
Yeah, it gets a good confirm off of the DP punish. Not the best, but it'll do. And an EXDP for an answer. Comes down to the next few hits, and then there'll be a sweep from Ed to finish out the round. So a little better play from Ed here. Ken needs to figure out how to deal with a couple more of those specials. So we'll see how this final round turns out. And again, another whiffed charge heavy punch from Ed.
Yeah, a lot of those kinds of moves, that one, Geef's heavy punch, a lot of people like lurk in range to block it. Just back up. Just start walking back. You'll block it if he's in range, and if he's out of range, you'll be able in perfect spacing to whiff punish it. That's Mika drop kick. That's another one.
Yeah, we got a lot of YOLO DPs going out on Wake Up, as most Kins always do. A little bit of a goof there. Ooh, and
Definitely
Ken,
something. I would say this Ken could have won this a lot sooner if he wasn't clearly so unfamiliar with the Ed. He's leaving a lot of those like high kicks and whiffed punches just unpunished because he just doesn't realize what they are or that they're happening.
Yeah, and to elaborate on that, he also let Ed here just get away with murder a lot of the time, just letting him get out of the corner and stuff like that, and it was really just a shame because that should not have been happening at all.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
That's a when people talk about matchups not really mattering in low levels, people will say that, but what they're actually trying to say is that like the matchup bit that's like this character is greatly superior to this character usually won't matter unless it's a super strong imbalance like Guile versus Alex. They don't mean that you shouldn't try to figure out like what the opponent is and does, because one of the things about Street Fighter, kind of going back to what you said earlier about it being a game where everyone's kind of different, is that since everyone's very different, everyone kind of requires a variation in strategy in order to beat them. You have to understand what they're trying to do and be able to stuff it, which is often difficult for new players to understand because, the new player learns their character really well, and that's hard enough. And now they get in the field and they're getting the snot beating out of them by this Ken who just keeps EXTPing. And they're like, why is this happening? I thought I was good at my character. And maybe you are, but you don't understand Ken. So you're just trying stuff that Ken has a solution for.
Yeah, and to go back on learning the characters, when you're starting out, it always sucks. It's a long process to learn each of the characters and get a handle on what to expect from them and just their general game plan when they're approaching you. But that's all part of learning a fighting game. That's probably, if you don't go down the competitive path with that game, that's probably going to be the longest and hardest thing for you to learn, is just learning all the different characters and what to expect in each of them. But once you do, you can really start having some fun with them, and that's where the games really start to open up. So yeah, it's really interesting. We haven't seen what Ed's capable of in this game. We've only seen him in the beta and these past few days since the patch dropped. So, will he be a top 8 character? Will he, will some, big player pick him up? We really don't know, but personally, I feel like it would be great if someone did, because I really like playing Ed. He's really unique. He's got a fun style. He's super hype at times, so I'm rooting for him to be a big player. That's just me personally.
I'm always interested in seeing new characters thrive, just because, one thing that happens with long-running fighting games is you get the same characters over and over because everyone loves them, and it's hard to get new characters in, and that kind of limits the playstyles available to some degree because, you can't really change an established character a whole bunch without really upsetting people who like the way that character plays. A good example in this game is Jury. Like, she is drastically different from Street Fighter 4, and I know a lot of people are still very upset about that. So being able to bring in new characters and having them be successful is kind of key to not necessarily the success of any given edition of a fighting game, but to the long-term success of fighting games as a whole.
Yeah, and, I understand that people get upset with, when characters aren't the same from past game iterations, but it's just the nature of how sequels to fighting games work, they're gonna evolve, they're gonna change. Good example would be Bison from pretty much any other iteration of Street Fighter. He is so much different in this game that it's just not even funny, but honestly, I love playing Bison in this game. He has a very clean control set, and it just feels very natural and not very dirty, if that makes any sense. But, he feels really fun to play, and that's why I play him anyway. I know there's another one I was thinking of, and I can't quite think of it. It may have been Jury, but, I think it's a good thing that, characters evolve over time. It gives them, a fresh air about them. It gives them, something new to look forward to in each game. But if you're a competitive player, I could see why you'd be upset. So
Vega's the other one that changed.
Vega, yep, that was the one I was thinking of. He changed a lot. It's funny that all the other Shadaloo characters are charge characters before Ed came out, and then Vega is definitely not a charge character. I thought that was funny.
That'd do something, I guess. All right, we're getting toward the end of the show, but before we close out, I want to just play through this matchup one more time, just because it is new, and to give us another opportunity to take a quick look at Ed. Just another couple of moments to talk about him, because again, that unfamiliarity will kill you. So that thing he does is safe, but not plus. So if you see him charging that thing up from far away, just don't do anything about it, and he'll come over to you and give you advantage.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll take before... I wonder if people will start jumping over it or not when they see that being charged, or if they'll maybe even do a neutral jump. Or wait, I'm thinking about stand HP charge. Like, for the V skill, I could see... Well, that could be risky, because they might be doing an up charge or down charge.
Kind of like Birdie's chain, almost. You gotta know what he's throwing out.
Yeah, but honestly, blocking is pretty much all you really need to do. There's really no reason to go for any extra risk, personally.
So the other thing I've noticed that Ed has that you should watch out for in a lot of characters is that his anti-airs are all very strong. So going to the air against him, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, I've had a blast when playing with Ed and just swatting people out of the air. It's not even his specials that do a fantastic job for anti-airs. It's his normals, too. His stand MK is just fantastic. It's almost on par with, Chun's normals. And that's just great. I love having characters that have a great neutral game like that.
Yeah, Ed has... I think Ed's biggest advantage is going to be his strong as hell neutral game, and very safe, too. Very hard to punish him for most of his stuff. Even if it's really minus, he spaces well. And his strong damage when he has meter. His major disadvantage is that he's not going to be great at, winning the initial exchanges, so I think a lot of the time he's going to be fighting from disadvantage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least, but, since I've been having such a good time with him, I've even considered possibly bringing him into EVO with me, because I feel like he could do some good stuff. I wonder how familiar people will get with him in that short time. Maybe he will have a target on his back just because of that, but I really don't know. It'll just have to wait and see, but, if I keep rolling with him, he might be a good choice. Him and Balrog can really do some damage.
Oh, one thing to note, in the corner, maybe in neutral, I haven't tested yet, Ed does have a throw loop with his back throw. So, be aware of that, be ready to tech him when he's just like throwing you over and over. That's just a note to keep in mind on a couple of characters. They took away Geefs. I'm sad.
Like Geef needed anything else.
Yeah, but it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
See him dash up there, and notice Ken hasn't gotten up yet, so... Like you can just do it again, which is kind of an odd choice on a character like Ed, but hey, what can you do?
Yeah. So, interesting match there. We'll have some more Eds on the show as we continue down the line in the coming weeks. But, got an interesting little tidbit there from the new character. But, so Mika versus Ed is going to be cancer. Yeah, it very well could be. Could be a very cancerous matchup. God, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about some of the interesting matchups Ed might have. You know, I wonder if we're going to have anything that's going to be on par with Guile versus Geef and just not great matchups. You know, because I could see Ed being a big pain for grapplers down the line.
I think he'd probably be fine for like a Zangief or a Laura, but like against like Birdie, well, more Mika specifically, maybe Geef, depending on how good his normals end up really being against Geefs. But I think he's going to have trouble against Birdie because all of his options get close or punishable.
Yeah, it's more of a wait and see sort of deal, but that's about all we have to say on that. We are getting towards the end of our program here, so thanks everybody for coming through our part and staying with us in that time. If you're not a part of our community, come check out newchallenger.gg where you'll find all of the links to our social media, and if you see the Discord icon right there, that is where all or most of our magic happens, where everyone hangs out and has a good time. So we just want to say one last time, thank you for coming around. Have a good night, and have an even better weekend. I am Encore, and with me as always is KZA. Have a good weekend, guys.
Night.